Many thanks for joining us tonight. It's the Monday Report, and tonight I'm sitting in for Trevor Ombija. Let's take a look at stories making headlines tonight.
Have respect. I will go in at my own time. No.
Summoned and arrested. Businessman come politician Jimmy Wanjigi arrested for allegedly possessing firearms without a certificate.
Anaanza kwamba tarehe 14 aliua msichana mdogo kule Olorongai.
Shock and outrage. Suspected serial killer confesses to killing 3 women and a minor in Rongai, Nakuru.
Ku apply help, ndio naona matokeo sahi. I'm in band 4. Even I'm surprised how, and we are very needy at home.
More bright, needy students likely to miss on higher education over dismal loans and scholarships. Leaking roofs, no power and no water. The sorry state of Kimalel Sub-County Hospital in Baringo. Good evening. My sign language interpreter tonight is Njoki Shege. Politician and businessman Jimmy Wanjigi will spend the night in police custody. Wanjigi is being held at Kamukunji police station after being detained for allegedly being in possession of firearms without a certificate. The politician's lawyers have protested his arrest, saying it was a violation of a court order.
In honoring summons by detectives from Nairobi Regional Police Headquarters, Safina Party leader Jimmy Wanjigi, accompanied by his family and lawyers, arrived ready to answer questions raised by police. However, it was clear from the onset that it was not business as usual.
Stop it.
Officers manning the gate tried to stop Wanjigi from addressing journalists who had gathered around, although he finally did.
I am here to face the injustice of a regime that has decided oppression is its way. We are going to hear why they have summoned me. They say they have found a car outside my residence that has got items they want to question me about. I'm waiting to hear what that is about. So just be patient. I'll be back here within a few minutes.
But even as he addressed the media, the officers were eager and restless to escort Wanjigi into the compound.
No.
Things took a different turn the moment the businessman was ushered into a room for grilling. According to his lawyer Willis Otieno, the businessman was asked about firearms in his possession and which they claimed lacked valid certificate. Police claimed that the certificate was revoked on July 30th by the Firearms Licensing Board through a letter which Wanjigi's lawyer claims they were never served. Otieno says the firearms in question were the subject of a court case between 2018 and 2023 when the state confiscated them on the same claims. Wanjigi won the case and the court directed the DCI to return the firearms as he held a valid license at the time when they were taken away. Wanjigi's team claims the firearms were returned to him in 2023 after the DPP allegedly wrote to the DCI to comply with the court orders.
Please don't be rough.
Police declined to release him on police bond and instead detained him at Kamukunji police station.
He has been put in custody now. He is being taken, I believe, to Kamukunji, and tomorrow morning he will be appearing in court.
Haminwa termed the arrest a violation of the constitution as Wanjigi had obtained court orders stopping police from arresting him or conducting searches at his Muthaiga home.
Those orders, so far as we are concerned, are still in force. Those orders are still in force. But what is happening now is despicable. That is not the way justice should be administered at all. Things are happening which used to happen during Moi administration, which I thought as a country we have now got over.
The lawyers have also challenged an order issued by Kahawa Law Courts allowing detectives from the Serious Crime Unit to conduct a search at his Muthaiga residence and carry away firearms and ammunitions. Jimmy Wanjigi Woods seems far from over. Hours after he honored summons from the police, he has been arrested and is expected to spend the night in police custody before being arraigned on Tuesday. Gatete Njoroge, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
Members of the Meru County Assembly spent the first day of Governor Kawira Mwangaza's impeachment hearings tabling their case on why the county boss should be removed from office. As Emmanuel Tor now reports, the MCAs accused the governor of gross violation of the Constitution, gross misconduct and abuse of office.
Meru Governor Kawira Mwangaza was back to the Senate chambers, appearing before the Senate plenary to answer to her impeachment motion, the third one in a span of 2 years.
I now invite counsel for the Meru County Assembly.
And after losing 2 other impeachment motions at the Senate level, the Meru County Assembly members were keen not to make it 3 out of 3, lining up 8 lawyers and 2 key witnesses to defend their numerous grounds for impeachment.
The Honorable Kawira Mwangaza, how do you plead to the 3 charges? Guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
And from the onset, the Assembly went for the jugular, accusing the governor of illegally revoking the appointment of Virginia Kawira Mireti as Secretary of the Meru County Public Service Board.
Why are you calling it illegal revocation? Was the right procedure followed in her the revocation of the appointment?
I'm calling it an illegal revocation because the appointment of the CEO of the Public Service Board can only be revoked or can only be revoked with a vote of not less than 75% of all the members of the County Assembly of Meru.
They also accused her of failing to appoint the chairpersons of the Meru County Revenue Board, Meru Microfinance Corporation, Meru Youth Service Board, and Meru County Investment and Development Corporation Board.
The people of Meru are crying. I would want to submit that service delivery in Meru is highly compromised. I would also want to submit that there is poor governance.
The governor's team at pains to explain the use of manual payroll to pay personnel emoluments amounting to 102 million shillings, and also paying Kiambi Christas Manyara, a public communication officer in the office of the governor, his full salary and benefits despite the officer being in remand. The MCAs pleaded with the senators to listen to their case and approve all the allegations leveled against the governor, saying it was not by chance that she was being impeached a 3rd time.
You're being called for the 3rd time to interrogate the ability of Governor Kawira to manage the resources of the county of Meru. The county assembly has created a lie, told the lie, repeated the lie so many times that it started sounding like the truth.
Mwangaza will have a chance to defend herself Tuesday. Emmanuel Tor, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
And detectives in Nakuru have arrested a suspected serial killer linked to the brutal murder of 3 women and a minor in a span of 1 month. The 4 victims were tortured and raped by the suspect before being murdered. And as Marianne Nyambura reports, the suspect, a 19-year-old Ezekiel Saikwa Mwangi, who confessed to the heinous act, is currently being held at the Menengai police station in Nakuru County.
This is the late Alice Ayuma, a 4-year-old second-born daughter to Caroline Nanjala. Alice was murdered in cold blood a few meters from their home in Olrongai, Nakuru, on 13th of July. She's the first victim to be murdered by the suspected serial killer, 19-year-old Ezekiel Sakwa Mwangi, before he went on a murder spree, killing 3 other women in 2 weeks.
Na tarehe 13 hiyo mwendo wa saa 9 mtoto alipotea kigafla, lakini sasa sisi tulikuwa tunafikiria labda kwa majirani anacheza na wengine. Sisi tukasema wacha kwanza tutafute mtoto.
24 hours after her disappearance, the body of the 4-year-old was discovered dumped in a maize plantation a few meters from their home. An autopsy revealing that Alice was raped before being murdered.
Alisema mtoto alikuwa ameumizwa kichwa sana na alikuwa amerepiwa nyuma na mbele na hata na miti, nasikia alikuwa amekewa miti, sijui ni upande zote alikuwa amekewa miti.
At the Kaptembwa police station, we find the family of 46-year-old Virginia Njeri, a mother of 3 who was murdered in cold blood and her body dumped at the Menengai crater in Nakuru East.
Alitoka kwake Monday 5th August na wakamuua the same day, na afisa wa polisi vile waliarifiwa wakaenda huko wakampata.
Kama walimgonga kichwa na chuma, na anasema ni kama alikuwa amepiga magoti hivi wakimpiga kichwa.
Sakwa is also suspected of killing Florence Mweni, a banker whose lifeless body was discovered dumped in a thicket at Kaliet area within Rongai sub-county on 7th August. And Vera Mora Mogambi, aged 28, on the same day. Vera's body was discovered in a maize plantation at Mustard Seed area in Kiamuni, Rongai. This brings the number of victims allegedly murdered by Sakwa to 4. Police are also probing why the suspect would chop off the fingers of the banker, Florence Mweni.
Alimaliza siku moja siku mbili hivi, na akarudi akakata masikio yake na akatoa ile kitole ya kumba, sababu anasema alikuwa anapeleka Nairobi kwa mtu ambaye alikuwa anamtuma. Hatutatacha huyo mtu China kwa sababu tunataka hata yeye tumpate na tumhoji.
Sources indicate that Sakwa Mwangi was a naughty boy raised in Olrongai village where he committed the murders. Village elders remember him as an ex-convict.
Alishikwa akapelekwa wakati alikuwa kazini yake, akakaa kwa muda miaka 3. Akarudi hapa akanidanganya, mimi nimeweza kupata sponsor Naivasha inataka kunisaidia.
The family of John Gathuru, who took Sakwa in 5 months ago as he pursued his secondary education, is shocked by the news. Gathuru says they had been called to school several times for disciplinary cases.
Akashikwa akiwa na kisu, na kalipoulizwa ni ya nini, alisema ya kwamba hiyo kisu alikuwa anataka kuitumia kwa sababu kuna kijana walikuwa wamechokosana na yeye.
The 19-year-old suspect, Ezekiel Sakwa Mwangi, has confessed to killing 4 victims in a similar fit, but the motive behind the gruesome murders remains unknown. Miriam Nyambura, Citizen TV, Nakuru.
And let's take a look at the education sector. And scores of students from needy families are uncertain of joining university on account of insufficient funds from government. The students who applied for government funding have been placed in higher bands than their economic realities can sustain. The students and their families now want the government to relook the criteria used in the placement of students to access funds. Brenda Wanga spoke to a couple of such students who say they may have to forego their studies if the government does not step in.
Their physical abode is a dead giveaway to their economic standing in life. In just under 24 hours, Alvin Lamenya should be joining Machakos University to study hospitality.
So sijui vile nita manage na mtoto kesho anaingia. I don't know what to do.
Lamenya and his dad are now staring at an uncertain tomorrow and indeed future. The student who scored a C+ in last year's KCSE had applied for government funding, clearly outlining his family's economic situation. Both his parents are unemployed, a fact that is fully and well captured in the application form.
Kwa hiyo portal tuliulizwa KRA pins za wazazi, of which nilipeana.
Sa bado hadi sijui mbona nilikuwa band 5.
However, when his admission documents came, he was placed in band 5, denoting a family that is financially fit with a household income above 120,000 shillings a month and therefore deemed able to pay fees.
Per sem nafa nilipe 55,000, of which in add up to 1 year inakuja 110,000. Mi nilikuwa nashangaa sasa Hefo litumia criteria gani kuni place into that band. Both my parents are not employed. Mi nilikuwa nafikiria hadi watani place the band 1 enye of which
mimi sifanyi kazi, mama yake afanyi kazi. Hata kuna rafiki yangu who is employed, an engineer, na nimeona amepewa band 5. So nikashindwa mimi na yeye tuko in the same category.
Eugene Shikuku faces a similar predicament. He has 1 week to figure out how to raise the fees that his household is expected to contribute towards his university education. The A student nurses dreams of studying medicine and changing the fortunes of his family that currently is barely making it through each day. He says he faithfully and truthfully filled his funding application forms.
Kwa household contribution, kwanza tuliulizwa baba anafanya kazi gani. Kasema yeye ni fundi wa baiskeli na pikipiki. Bondo niliandika. Sasa baada ya kuapply help ndio naona matokeo sahi. I'm in band 4. Even I'm surprised how, and we are very needy at home.
Just like Alvin, Eugene has been placed in a band that is a far departure from his family's financial situation. In band 4, this family is expected to contribute 20% of the cost of his medicine degree, which translates to 92,000 shillings per semester, an amount that is simply out of reach for this young man. Eugene's surviving parent is a boda repairman, barely making ends meet.
Hata ukiangalia hapa background tu vile tunaishi yenyewe inaonesha tuna uwezo kabisa, kwa sababu hii kazi ya panja unaundia panja dad bob. Sasa uwezi jasha mpaka ifike ulipie mtoto shule.
These two young men are just a small fraction of students now staring at deferred dreams due to lack of financial ability to access university due to what they deem as mismatched placements in the financial bandings. The students will be the first to operate within the revised banding university funding model. The students and their families want the government to save their dreams and keep their hopes for a better future alive.
Sasa wasipochange sijui huyu mtoto atakuwa namna gani, because even right now ukiitisha kazi mahali wanaitisha papers. Na kama mtoto hana papers atapeana nini? Za form 4 hazitoshi. Inafaa aende awe skilled.
The Higher Education Funds body insists that students dissatisfied with their band's placement should lodge appeals. Alvin and Eugene can only hope that their appeals will yield a more favorable banding in time for them to enroll for their studies. Brenda Wanga, Citizen TV.
And we're staying with the university funding story, and the university's fund has attributed the widespread categorization of students from needy families in the wrong bands to data entry mistakes on the students' part. The fund's CEO, Geoffrey Monari, however, says the university's fund is open to appeals and has encouraged students from needy families who are banned in the wrong category to lodge an appeal immediately. And as Mary Mwoki reports, Monari says the government has directed all vice-chancellors to admit students as the fund works to resolve the funding challenges.
A dejected Dorcas Naliaka and her son Israel walk out of the University of Nairobi on Monday evening, 3 days after Citizen TV highlighted her son's predicament and inability to join university due to financial constraints. She took a leap of faith and brought her son for admission to study architecture. Israel was placed under Band 4 and is expected to pay 56,700 shillings annually. But his mother, Dorcas, says she only had 5,000 shillings in her pocket. And after a long day navigating the maze at admissions, moving from one office to the other, they were initially turned away.
Tulifika very early in the morning. Kufika tumepanga laini kuanzia asubuhi. Wenye amefikiwa akaambiwa ya kwamba aenda alipe school fees nusu kwanza ndio arudi.
I was supposed to be admitted at the University of Nairobi today, but on arrival we were told to pay half of the fee, which is 49,000 shillings for the first semester.
However, after intervention by the university's fund CEO Geoffrey Monari to the University of Nairobi registrar, the institution agreed to admit her son, but on condition that she raises 50% of the required fees for this semester in a week's time, money that is beyond her reach.
Nikapikia mwenye alikuwa ananifuatilia kwa nini? Mwenye alikuwa ananifuatilia historia ya Israel. Akamwambia kwamba akaniambia kwamba nikae hapo nisitoke akuje kwanza.
Tutaenda kwa halls for temporarily, tutakuwa accommodated temporarily. Alafu kesho ndo tutaresume verifying the documents.
No student should be turned away. The universities have communicated. All students should be able to turn up in their universities. They will be assisted by the respective universities while this process goes on.
Israel's fate mirrors that of thousands of students hoping to secure university admissions. Monari attributes the confusion with the student categorization to errors made by the applicants during the application process.
The challenges that we are seeing this year is in terms of once the application process was concluded, some students have said that they are very needy and they need to move from the band that they're in to go to another band. This challenge is mainly because we have noted that students are not giving us the correct information to help us band them properly.
Monari has defended the means testing instrument, terming it a game changer in university funding, and directed students with grievances on the banding to lodge an appeal at the higher education portal, promising all appeals will be reviewed and a determination made in 14 days.
We have tried, but the portal, it has an error, 404 error. Yeah, it's not reachable.
However, all is not lost because we will give these students a second chance for them to come and appeal, give us proper information, new information, and we can be able to give them a chance to be banded in the correct category.
Mary Mwoki, Citizen TV.
And there's a lot of confusion over the university funding model. We invite you to send in your comments, your experiences over the same. If you've applied for intake into a university and are experiencing some of these challenges, let us know what your experience has been. The hashtag is Monday Report at Citizen TV Kenya. Please share your thoughts. You can also SMS us on 22422. And revisiting our top story this evening, politician and businessman Jimmy Wanjigi will spend the night in police custody. Wanjigi is being held at Kamukunji police station after being detained for allegedly being in possession of firearms without a certificate. The family and lawyers of the businessman are still camping at the Kamukunji police station where Jimmy Wanjigi is being held. And we're now joined live from there by Willie Lusige. Good evening, Willie. What is the latest? What is happening at the Kamukunji police station as regards the arrest of Jimmy Wanjigi?
Lilian and our viewers, definitely businessman Jimmy Wanjigi is still being detained here at the Kamukunji police station, which is just a few meters behind me. Remember, he was apprehended during today's, when he attended summons by the regional investigating officer at Nairobi town area police station to record or to give more information about the alleged tear gas canisters and even explosives that were found in a vehicle outside his gate. So when he attended that summon, that's when he was apprehended, and later he was brought here at Kamukunji police station where he's still being detained, and his family is also still camping here waiting to see what will happen next, because Jimmy had actually a court order barring the police from detaining him, and apart from that also holding him in custody. What has happened briefly before this is only a number of political leaders led by Eugene Wamalwa and Kalonzo Musyoka who came here to see him and also termed the process by which the police have arrested him and detained him as against the law because he has a court order. But briefly, I want to speak to his lawyer, who is Willis, just to tell us within 30 seconds, you had a court order barring the arrest of Jimmy Wanjigi, but apart from that also we have seen that the police are still holding him in custody. What next?
You know, as it is, the police here are ignoring the order issued by the High Court, stopping the arrest or continued detention of Jimmy Wanjigi. If they have an issue with him, they meet in court. They don't want to do that. So now we are hearing they're trying to plant all manner of things on Mr. Wanjigi, including trying to call officers from ATPU. They want to now treat Mr. Wanjigi as a terrorist, and they want to charge him for terrorism-related offenses. Mara, they are saying that they want to charge him for not having a firearm certificate when he had gone to court and the court had actually reinstated his firearm certificate when the firearms license board previously attempted to nullify that license. All this is political witch hunt. William Ruto is using the police to pursue a political agenda. Jimmy Wanjigi has been educating the public on our economy and the issue of public debt. He will not stop. You can take him to any court you want. You can decide to do whatever you want to do to him. But his voice to say the problem of this country is the economy, and William Ruto is unable to deal with economic problems in this country, will not stop. He will keep saying it. And that is the ultimate truth. No amount of persecution, no amount of intimidation, no amount of harassment, no amount of ignoring court orders will make Mr. Wanjigi to stop from speaking his truth, which is the truth of the pain that all Kenyans are feeling in their homes at the moment. If they detain him here tonight, they'll take him to court. Which court do they want to take him to? When the same courts have issued an order for him not to be arrested or not to be detained, they've done exactly the opposite. And we are going to move to court for contempt of court orders against the acting IG and the in contravention of the orders issued by the court, and no proceedings should take place before the issue of contempt by these officers is dealt with. Let us all agree that we are operating within the rule of law, or it is politics. If it is politics, Jimmy Wanjigi has invited William Ruto. Let's meet on the field. We don't need to meet in the police station. Let's meet on the field. Let's argue issues. Let's debate. Let's talk about the issues affecting Kenyans. Thank you.
Thank you. That is Willis, one of the lawyers to Jimmy Wanjigi, the businessman who, pardon me, is still being held here and detained at Kamkunji police station. All eyes are set to see tomorrow maybe the charges that will be leveled against him, if indeed he'll be taken to court. Lillian.
Many thanks for that. That is Willie Lusige talking to the lawyer of businessman Jimmy Wanjigi, who is currently being detained at the Kamukunji police station. This following his arrest earlier today. He is being detained for allegedly being in possession of firearms without a certificate. The lawyers of Jimmy Wanjigi there decrying this arrest, saying that it came despite there being a court order barring his arrest. Willis will be staying with that story. Willie Lusige will be staying with that story. It is a developing story. We will give you details on the story as and when we get them. And the Ministry of Health now says Kenya remains an Mpox-free and low-risk country in the face of the ongoing outbreak of the disease. Health CS Dr. Deborah Barasa says all suspected cases, numbering nearly 30, have tested negative. At the same time, the ministry says Kenya will get vaccines against the Mpox disease by the end of the year. Meanwhile, the ministry says the government has heightened disease surveillance and screening of visitors to Kenya at border points across the country.
Diagnostic capacity. Remember, the platform used for testing Mpox is the same platform that was used for COVID-19. It's called PCR, polymerase chain reaction. For now, we have dedicated 4 laboratories to be able to do this testing, but we have redundant capacity of more than 100 laboratories if there's need to be able to call for additional laboratory support.
We had suspected cases, as has been informed, and the test has been done, so we're waiting for the turnaround time to confirm. But so far, we only have that one case that has recovered.
And now to a story of a sick hospital. And residents of Kimalel area in Baringo County have given the county government a 2-week ultimatum to renovate the Kimalel Sub-County Hospital, failure to which they will shut down the referral facility. This comes amidst growing concerns of neglect of patients at the facility. And as Laura Otieno reports, Baringo County Governor Benjamin Cheboy has acknowledged the shortcomings of the hospital, vowing to bring partners on board to renovate the facility.
A walk through the corridors of the Kimalel Sub-County Hospital paints a picture of destitution. The walls painted with shades of abandonment and the gaping holes on the ceiling an indication of neglect of this facility that is touted as the center of excellence in the treatment of Kala-Azar disease. The wards are littered with broken beds and non-functioning toilets. This particular one, however, is reportedly used as a hostel by students of the Kenya Medical Training College, whose wares are sprawled on the hospital floor. Residents who stormed this facility claim this has been the situation for the last 1 year, forcing them to seek treatment in alternative facilities.
Hata ambulance hatuna. Vitanda yenye ilikuwa hapa imebebwa yote. Kila kitu yenye ilikuwa hapa imeenda. Theater imebebwa machine. Aieleweki inaenda hospitali gani?
Mama wa maternity akiingia, mimi mwenyewe sina pesa, ameletwa hapa, amejifungua, hakuna mtu amekuja kuvisit, hakuna chakula hospitali, unaibika hata kumwenda kumuona na kuambia yeye unaendeleaje.
The nursing in charge at the Kimalel Sub-County Hospital says their calls to the county government of Baringo to renovate the facility have fell on deaf ears, with the officers from the county having last visited the facility in 2020, reportedly to determine the bill of quantities, also known as BQ, for the renovation exercise.
We are not happy working in such an environment. I'm not ashamed to say so, because this is a nasal area. Sometimes if you close the facility, let's say from Friday, when you come on Monday, it's not a surprise to get a snake in your office.
I've been discussing with KEMRI on how they come in and perhaps not only do research in that facility, but we will together jointly improve the facility for that service.
Until then, residents of Koriama, Patkawanin and Bekibon who rely on this facility will continue seeking Medicare in alternative facilities, further dampening the ambition of timely access to health care. Laura Otieno, Citizen TV.
County governments are... Tonight, we're going to be bringing you that story very shortly, but let's take a break right now on how county governments are staring at the prospect of a cash crunch over delayed release of funds by the National Treasury. That and other stories will be on Monday Report after this very short break. Stay with us. Welcome back to Monday Report. County governments are tonight staring at the prospect of a cash crunch over delayed release of funds by the National Treasury. The Council of Governors Finance Committee Chairperson Fernandez Baraza says special financing arrangements with local banks to meet recurrent expenditure is proving unsustainable, warning that operations across counties will be affected.
A 90-day delay in the release of funds to the devolved units is having a toll on operations, according to the Council of Governors, and which, if no measures are taken to address the current situation, may end up shutting county governments.
So in total, what we are talking about is a delay in receiving disbursements for 3 months. And to be very honest, this has really affected negatively operations in counties.
COG says the delay in release of the funds is further compounded by the sliced shareable revenue, following the withdrawal of the Finance Bill 2024, which it says will have far-reaching consequences.
So with 380 billion Kenya shillings, which has already been approved by the National Assembly via the supplementary budget, this is going also to affect the share of revenue that is attributed to counties.
And many times, counties are forced
to have arrears going all the way to 3 to 4 months. And this year or the previous years has not been better, because seemingly every administration that has come with devolution, still we have not reached where we need to go.
The cry over the cash crunch compelling the Council of Governors to forewarn of looming scale-down operations and service delivery.
So we just want to warn the counties that it is going to be not going to be business as usual, and the only remedy is now to maximize on source revenue, and that is what I'm calling upon my colleagues.
Counties have since the advent of devolution been beset by combined challenges of delays in release of funds on time and successive administrations that have displayed little or no appetite for the total devolution of all functions. Ayub Abdikadir, Citizen TV.
On the political scene tonight, the Orange Democratic Movement Party has dared affiliate parties within the Azimio coalition to edge them out of the coalition if they can, responding to a threat by coalition partners who have threatened to kick out the party from the opposition coalition, accusing ODM of cozying up to the government in recent appointments. ODM says it shall not be cowed, claiming that these attacks are driven by bad faith and ulterior motives. And as Melita Tenges reports, the feud has unveiled deep rifts within the coalition as ODM dismissed claims of a planned Azimio Council meeting to shape the coalition's direction.
Battle lines have been drawn as it now becomes apparent that the ODM party is going toe-to-toe with affiliate parties led by Kalonzo Musyoka in the battle for control of the Azimio coalition and by extension minority leadership in parliament. ODM chairperson Gladys Wanga indicating that the party will not take accusations against the party leader and the party lying down.
Someone in Azimio is trying to question Raila Odinga's commitment to holding the government to account.
Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka, Jubilee's Jeremiah Kioni and DAPK leader Eugene Wamalwa had directed political barbs towards Azimio leader Raila Odinga for allegedly abandoning the opposition. ODM dismisses these allegations as mere fabrications.
When they tell us that we have joined government, on what basis are they saying that? Is there any coalition agreement? There is none. So we think that these people are just playing drama, and the ODM is such a serious party which is not ready for drama.
We will not accept any continued attempt to use Raila Odinga as a human shield, and any continued attempt to twist him into endorsing anybody at this stage, or any continued attempt to use him as an excuse for the failure of leadership in individual constituent parties of Azimio.
With the highest number of MPs in Azimio, ODM insists its supremacy in the coalition is unchallenged, dismissing assertions by the Kalonzo-led faction to form a formidable opposition without ODM and Raila Odinga.
ODM is a principal partner in Azimio coalition. We cannot be lectured by some of our junior partners in the coalition that we leave coalition. In fact, some of the partners in the coalition, we are even questioning their status in the coalition. Jubilee Party, for example, when Honorable Kioni talks about Jubilee, which Jubilee is he talking about?
Amid undertones of an impending Azimio Council meeting chaired by Uhuru Kenyatta to give direction to the wrangles in the coalition, ODM leadership denies any involvement. The statement by ODM leadership now throws Azimio into whirlwind from being a close-knit coalition party to its unity now in jeopardy. The raging political storm in the Azimio La Umoja coalition, sparked by a section of leaders joining government and a growing bond between Raila Odinga and President William Ruto, is now threatening to split the coalition. The deepening divisions is now threatening the very core. Will the Azimio La Umoja coalition center hold any further? Melita Oletenges, Citizen TV, Chungwa House, Nairobi.
And like running into a god of fortune, Lady Luck has shone brightly on one Daniel Kimanzi, a resident of Kitui. Kimanzi is the latest winner of 1.5 million shillings on the Shabiki.com Aviator game. Kimanzi, a full-time engineer, is a regular player of the game and initially won 500,000 shillings and withdrew 200,000 shillings. He decided to continue playing with a balance. He plans to use his winnings to boost his construction business and secure his children's education. Kimanzi, who celebrated the win with his wife, encouraged Kenyans to participate in Shabiki.com, saying it is a legitimate platform where anyone can win big. His win, a testament to how confidence and a bit of luck can turn a simple game into a life-changing event.
Pale nyumbani anakutazama na ako na pesa yake kwa wallet yake ya Shabiki, anataka kucheza Aviator. Unafanya namna gani?
Unaenda tu kwa convert chief, una buy chief, sababu kuna ukitaka kuweka kwa Aviator una buy, ukitaka kurudisha kwa wallet una sell. Unaweka kwa Aviator, unacheza, ukikula kama utakula una sell. Sasa ukienda hapo kwa sell, kuna mahali utaona kumewekwa pesa Kenya shilling imeandikwa hivyo. Ukiweka pesa yako hapo
una sell. Alafu pesa yako inaingia kwa wallet.
Kwa wallet sasa unatoa unaweka kwa M-Pesa.
Amazing sana. Hii pesa unapanga kufanyia nini mzee?
Hii pesa yangu nitalipia watoto shule, nitaendeleza biashara yangu, na hiyo nyingine kidogo tutafanya mambo mengine na.
A 24-year-old man was today killed by an irate mob in Magarini, Kilifi County after he attacked and killed his father, Karisa Mwaiha. Islam Karisa is said to have descended on his father after he was denied permission to harvest mangoes from the family farm. The happenings in Kilifi come even as KOTU Secretary General Francis Atwoli announced that the union would be leading arbitration talks between teachers' unions in the country that have threatened to cripple the education sector. From next week, Kamau Mwangi, that is from next week, and Kamau Mwangi gives us more details on these and other stories.
Wails of a village in mourning shattered after 24-year-old Islam Karisa descended on his father Karisa Mwaiha with a machete, ending his life. The rage, according to villagers, occasioned by a dispute that had seen Islam denied permission by his father to harvest mangoes from their farm. Karisa was later killed by an irate mob after the dismembered, lifeless body of Mwaiha was found lying in the compound by neighbors.
Ashai kusumbuana na mzee, tukampeleka polisi, akafungwa miezi 8, akatoka tena akarudia hiyo jambo hilo, tukamrudisha tena polisi, akafungwa miezi 6, akatoka. Sasa ndo amefanya hiyo. Mzee asubuhi anasikia.
Meanwhile, in Kirinyaga County, KOTU Secretary General Francis Atwoli has announced that the Workers' Union is trying to avert a crisis in the education sector as schools prepare to reopen for the third term next week. Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers, KUPPET, gave a 7-day strike notice today, following in the footsteps of their counterparts in universities and primary schools.
Tunataka kuweka agenda ya walimu wetu mbele kama KOTU sasa, ili kama itawezekana watu wa treasury, watu wa universities na watu wa schools zote ambao na pia waziri wa elimu wakutane na nyinyi mapema, waangalie ni njia gani wanaweza kuwa na agreement na nyinyi.
Miles away in Uasin Gishu County, Governor Jonathan B's deputy John Barorot has resigned. Barorot says he quit the county after finding greener pastures elsewhere.
So I go with my head high that when we are here, we've worked very well with Jonathan B. I'm going because of an opportunity that has arisen, which is time-bound. It is not something that you will say, delay that transformation. Nobody can delay it.
And finally, it is temporary reprieve for businessman Agnesh Devani after Milimani magistrate Thomas Nzioki released him on a Kenya shillings 5 million cash bail, having denied 11 counts of fraud leveled against him and his company Triton Petroleum. In his ruling, Nzioka also stated that Devani would answer to charges leveled against his company as well.
Mr. Devani, you are barred from traveling out of the country. I know you are a businessman. Please, you should not leave the jurisdiction of the country without leave of the court. And for that, you shall then have to bring your passport so that we deposit it in the courts.
Kamau Mwangi, Citizen TV.
Sports now, and Kenneth Mburu and Rosalind David led Kenya's medal harvest in the men and women's 10-kilometer road race on Sunday evening at the Slotskogen City Park in Gothenburg, Sweden, in the ongoing World Masters Athletics. Rosalind grabbed the gold medal in the women's W45 category, crossing the finish line with a championship record time of 35 minutes and 8 seconds. This was her second gold medal in the World Masters Athletics Championships after her stellar show in the women's 5,000 meters at the Ullevi Stadium last week. Kenya's Joan Chepchirchir bagged silver in the same category. Kenneth Mburu, who had won a silver medal in men's 5,000 meters, settled for gold in a time of 31 minutes and 27 seconds in the 10 kilometers, with Samuel Nzereba finishing second in the men's M45.
Tulikuwa na Joan akaniambia okoa mbele. Ndio nikaokoa mbele, nikafinya sana mpaka mzungu akakaa nyuma yangu, ndio nikapiga sana mpaka nika win race leo.
Hali ya hewa kuko na baridi, hapo tulikuwa tukikimbia, kulikuwa kunanyesha, hapo mvua ikakuja ikapungua. Bahati kulikuwa kuna msitu, at least hakukuwa na upepo sana, lakini baridi ilikuwa. Lakini tumeng'ang'ana na tumefanya bidii ili tuweze kushinda.
Still in golf, Joyce Osike was on her best form, returning 41 Stableford points to be crowned the overall winner of the day, 15th leg of the KCB East Africa Golf Tour at the Nyanza Golf Club on Saturday. The team of Jiten Pebari, Amrish Patel, Ramesh Karia and Prashant Thakkar returned a combined score of 115 points to be named the overall team winners. Griffins Owino, Joyce Osike, Tabitha Ojwang and Christian Riaro, who bagged the tour's overall crown last year, emerged second, garnering 111 points at the tourney that was graced by 130 top amateur golfers from across the country. Amrish Patel, on the other hand, was the winner in men's category after returning 39 points, with Elizabeth Akinyi winning the ladies category with 40 points.
Today is a great day for us here, where we have won today eventually. Last year we were runners-up, we came to Karen, and it's just an amazing day that we are here today and we have won, and we'd like to represent Nyanza again to the finals in Nairobi, and we are looking forward to again bringing the final prize to Nyanza here and make our club a proud club for us.
And Kenya Netball Federation organized a two-day training course for umpires, coach, players and netball administrators at the Ulinzi Sports Complex in Nairobi. The training that ended on Sunday attracted 120 participants from 30 counties across the country. The two-day workshop emphasized on the changes of rules from World Netball that had to be implemented worldwide beginning this 2024 season. Actions of the Kenya Netball 2024 season will begin from the 18th of August.
Do we get it? Ball is in the court, Sarah. Over attack. And a throw in. First of all, having the fundamentals of the game sink into the grassroots. Have secondary, primary schools play competitive netball. That's where the national team comes on. So when we have ladies later in their 20s that had good foundations and the basement is very good, we'll have a very strong national team.
We have been able to have courses or clinics in more than 15 counties in this country. So that group is the one that we have today. What they have actually acquired out there, we want now to harmonize, to coordinate, to internalize, so that come next year, they'll be prepared to do it better than they did it.
And where do we check this paper?
Thank you so much for watching. That's Monday Report. My name is Lillian Muliao, sitting in for Trevor Ombija tonight. Our sign language interpreter this evening, Njoki Shege. Many thanks for watching. Have a lovely evening. Good night.